What is going on, San Francisco 49er fans? Today we're going to analyze the tape of Nick Martin, linebacker that the San Francisco 49ers drafted in the third round. A guy that has shown massive upside and massive potential over the first two games that this guy has played. Now, Martin has made multiple plays on tape. He's gotten super close on multiple plays as well. There's a lot of plays where he's reading, he's reacting, he's getting off blocks, but he's just half a second slow. And what's crazy about this is most rookies are not as close as Martin when they come into the NFL. Most linebackers specifically take a couple of years to really develop. But Martin's already showing a ton of flashes, and I'm pretty sure that as this guy develops, as he gets 10, 15, 20% better, the speed of the game kind of slows down. I'm pretty confident to say I think Nick Martin's going to become one of the top tier linebackers in the NFL. The guy is flashing out there, and we're going to talk about it. He's going to end up getting a sack on this one, and what's impressive to me about this play is that the 49ers are going to design this play for Martin. This is not some sort of concept where you're overloading a offensive line when you're bringing like 6, 7, 8 guys. This is only a 4-man pass rush. And I want to break this play down a little bit because I don't think people recognize how impressive this play is. So let's break this play down a little bit. You got a defensive end lined up on both sides. You also have a guy that's lined up in that long 3 technique, but keep in mind he's standing up. And then you have 2 defensive tackles on the inside. And that puts you at 5 guys that you're essentially showing that may end up coming. You got a safety, you got Nick Martin. So you got 7 guys that are kind of showing. So the offensive line has to kind of figure out which guys are going to end up coming. So what's going to end up happening is the edge player here is going to end up dropping back into coverage. 27 is going to drop back, and he's not really on the line of scrimmage. So the offensive line is not even going to worry about 27. He's more so of like a heart read. The guy in the long 3 technique also ends up falling back, which means there's only going to be 4 guys that are really rushing. You're going to get a defensive tackle here to slant outwards. He has to contain the outside because that defensive end drops off. 55 here is going to slant hard towards the right. The edge comes off on the right side here, and Nick Martin's going to end up coming right through that gap right there. So you are betting on Martin and those 2 defensive tackles to be able to properly run the game. The slant outward is going to occupy that left tackle as well as the left guard. The slant inward is going to end up occupying the center. And Martin's going to just run right off of this. He's essentially going to be a free blitzer. And this is a really, really well executed play by the San Francisco 49ers. Again, the fact that it's only 4 guys coming is really impressive. This is how you design pressure. Right? You simulate pressure. Right? You have guys kind of dropping off. You show some guys that might actually come. Other guys end up actually coming. So just a really, really nicely designed concept. But the fact that Martin's able to actually make the play is really impressive in my opinion. And the guy's just all over the field making plays. You can tell that Robert Saleh has put trust in Nick Martin. And I know it's preseason, and technically the starting linebackers for the 49ers aren't going to actually be out there. Fred Warner, I know, is not playing, especially in this preseason game against the Raiders. I know you had a couple of starters out there, but Martin was the guy that was kind of trusted, right? Robert Saleh believes in this guy, and he definitely flashed. You put those responsibilities on him. You say you have guys, on these bootleg actions. You got to be able to take the flats, and he's doing that. He's absolutely making plays for the 49ers defense right now. Alrighty guys, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Martin in pass coverage specifically, and talk a little bit about some of the plays that I've seen him make. I think Martin's a very, very underrated player in coverage, and I think this is why the Niners have an absolute steal in Martin. The Raiders are going to run some sort of verticals concept. The tight end here is going to catch the ball, and Martin's going to do a phenomenal job jarring the football loose. To me, this looks like some sort of cover 1 man-to-man concept, and Martin's going to basically be locked in against that tight end. The pass here is a really, really nice pass by the quarterback. And you're going to see Martin's going to end up being maybe a yard beat on this one, but he does a great job getting his hand in there, and he ends up breaking up the pass. This is a really good job recovering by Martin, right? To just kind of stay on the tight end, get that left arm in there, and essentially break that pass up. Even though he was beat, I think, on this play, and this is a learning lesson, right? Martin's going to be just half a second slow reading this play because the quarterback in the backfield is going to play action this. So you're going to get a play action pass. The offensive lineman in front of him even jump set. And I'll show you guys what that means right now. Notice 56. 56 is going to come out forward. He's going to jump set the defensive tackle in front of him. And Martin comes down just a little bit. And that half a second delay right there allows that tight end to kind of get behind him. But he does a great job recovering. So really, really good job right there by Martin. But I want to show you guys another play this guy made in coverage, right? It's just the processing and the ability to read. You got this play here where the quarterback's going to basically end up rolling to the linebacker's side, and the linebacker has to make a decision. And he makes the smart play on this one. He doesn't panic. He doesn't get out of position. He just does the right thing. And this is part of what I really, really like with Nick Martin. And here's one of those type of plays where you don't really know if Martin's actually having a responsibility, especially on passing plays, because sometimes it's hard based off the camera angle to actually see guys downfield. But I want to show you guys this play here because Martin's doing a really good job within this play. He understands that Aiden O'Connell is not a super quick and super explosive quarterback. Right? He's not going to outrun most nose tackles. Right? He's not that fast. So Nick Martin here, who is playing a cover 3 vertical hook, understands his responsibility. When this running back ends up releasing and tries running downfield, he understands what he has to do within this play. He understands there's no point in chasing the quarterback on this one. Instead, he's going to stay within his coverage responsibility. You know, sometimes linebackers panic. When you have a guy kind of coming out into your coverage, the quarterback's also rolling towards that same side, the linebacker has to make a split-second decision. Remember, we are freeze-framing this and kind of analyzing what's happening, but this guy's processing this in real time. You have like half a second to make the decision on, am I going to go for that quarterback or am I going to stick to the running back? And also, Martin doesn't have eyes on the back of his head. He doesn't know where this safety is. You don't know where the safety ends up on any given play. So Martin makes a smart decision by staying with the running back. Really, really like the decisions that this guy's kind of making out there. Stays in coverage, and the quarterback ends up just throwing it away. That's a smart play by Martin. It's the little things that really stick out to me with Martin. His responsibility in coverage. Robert Saleh runs a lot of trap coverages, mixed coverages. He runs a lot of simulated pressures. This guy understands all those little things, and he understands his responsibility within all those different concepts. And that's why I think Martin's going to end up becoming a really good linebacker. But even as I just watch him like avoid running into other people, you can just tell this guy's smart. He just understands on this one that the offense is running some sort of pick concept, and he doesn't stop the play from picking up a first down, but just the way he tries avoiding these guys to actually make the play. Now keep in mind, Raheem Mostert's a veteran player, and of course Martin being a rookie, these are just little things he'll have to kind of adjust to. But you have 2 guys here running routes, which means there's 4 guys that could end up getting in the way of Martin. But before the ball's even snapped, Martin kind of starts losing a little bit of depth, and he gets over the top of those guys, and he ends up making the play. Keep in mind this was 3rd and 3, so he only needed 3 yards. But again, I like the fact that Martin is able to recognize certain concept and is able to attack. Obviously, there's some things he'll just have to clean up. He does have some missed tackles, which I think you got to clean up. You got to be able to just process just half a second quicker. And I think that's going to just take time. That's going to take reps. He's going to have to understand the different schemes, right? Heavy zone, inside zone. Some teams are power-based. So it's just really understanding the different concepts and just understanding the different blocking points. Now, with that being stated, I want to show you guys some of what this guy does as a run defender. And I want to show you guys plays where he's put into multiple different positions. As a stack linebacker, as a linebacker on the line of scrimmage. Maybe it's a guy lined up in that double-A mug look. I want to just show you guys a couple of different run concepts because Martin makes all the smart decisions, and the processing, the IQ by Martin is really, really impressive. The Raiders are going to run outside zone on this one, and Martin has to set that front side edge. He has to be able to take on number 84, and he has to make sure the running back cuts in underneath him. But at the same time, he has to make sure the tight end doesn't move him out of the gap. And Martin does a pretty nice job on this one. Now, this is a rookie tight end, but this is what you'd expect, right? Rookie on rookie. One guy's usually a little bit better than the other, and you can tell Martin does a really good job. The right hand is going to be inside that tight end. He's lower than the tight end as well. He has a nice base. He has the outside arm free in case the running back here tries to hit this towards the outside. And this is just a great job not allowing the tight end to push him and move him out of the gap. And you can see that this one's going to close down pretty quickly. And Martin's a part of that, right? He makes sure there's not a whole lot of movement that's going to generate on this play. Against the run, Martin does a really good job using his hands. He does a really good job getting over blocks, coming downhill, understanding where the running back's trying to go. You're going to get a zone run towards the left. And on any given zone run, the play could always come backside, right? It could always bend back towards the right side. And Martin understands this, right? He understands that I'm the strong side linebacker and this is a weak side run. So I'm essentially the backside linebacker on this one. And although the run is going to be towards the left, it could always bend back, right? And that's the point of zone concepts. So Martin understands that even though I need to play over the top, I need to also make sure that these backside cut lane options don't open up. That's exactly what he does on this one. Plays over the top. As soon as he recognizes the running back's bending this back towards the right, look at him come back right towards that same side, gets in there and helps make the play. That's a phenomenal job right there by Martin to be able to read the play, recognize the play, know the concept, and just get downhill and make the tackle. Now, I've showed you guys plays where he's on the front side of a zone run, where he's lined up as a linebacker against a zone run. He's going to be on the backside this time. It's going to be a zone run towards the left. And again, any zone run can easily bend back into one of these gaps. And when you're on the backside, it's very important as an edge player. You got to come down the line of scrimmage. You got to protect these backside gaps. And on this one, that's exactly what he's going to end up doing. He's going to do a phenomenal job recognizing the play, right, outside zone towards the left. Make sure the quarterback doesn't have the football and also kind of gets in there and helps bring the running back down. 1st and 10, this one picks up about 1.5 yards. So that's a really, really good job right there by Martin to understand the concept, understand what's happening, and just doing his job. You know, the way to get playing time is to do your job, right? Straight up, just do your job. You don't have to make every single play, but make sure you're making the smart play. And with Martin, that's kind of the thing that I'm seeing. The guy's smart. All right, guys, I want to just show you guys 2 more run concepts here. This one is going to be duo. It's a power-based run concept. This was obviously week 1 against the Denver Broncos. Martin's going to do a great job reading, reacting, and although he doesn't make the tackle initially, he does a great job with the effort as well. And truth be told, you know, there is a missed tackle on the front side. You guys see right here. You got to make this play for number 35. If you don't make that play right there, you're going to give up 11 yards, which is exactly what happens on this play. But let's talk about the read by Martin. To me, I love the fact that he understands the concept. You know, the Broncos are going to be a heavy power-based team. And you're going to see these double team blocks here by these linemen, which generally speaking means this is going to be duo. And the double team by the tight ends is what has to get up to Martin. So Martin knows, has this gap here in terms of his run fit. And then look at the read. Watch, as soon as the ball gets snapped, the left tackle is going to block down and the tight end's going to block out. So what that tells me right away is this is duo, because if it was inside zone, the tight end would have came directly out towards Martin. But because the tight end blocks out, tackle blocks down, this is duo. So Martin's going to step up right into that run fit. He knows the tight end's going to be the guy that's going to release to him. He's going to step out. He's going to fire through the gap. Tight end tries getting him, but Martin sets up perfectly in that gap. This is it. This was his entire job. Set up in the gap, make sure the running back can't hit it to the side that you're essentially in, and he does his job. Now, everything beyond this point is not anything on Martin. You got to be able to, if you're on the front side, set the edge. If you're the front side corner or safety, you got to make the tackle, right? If you miss a tackle, a 1-yard play turns into 11 yards, as you guys see on this one. But I do love the pursuit as well by Martin. Love the read, the reaction, jumping through that gap. And again, you see the processing by Martin. You see the football awareness, the IQ. Now, you got to make this play as well, Martin. I'm not going to make an excuse for that. But again, not his job, not his responsibility. He has to just come downhill and feel his run fit, right? Of course, that is unless he's going up in a light box, which in this instance, it's not a light box. These are stacked boxes. Every player has a run fit. Here's another play. This is once again going to be duo. And Martin, once again, just does a phenomenal job. And the running back does a great job kind of turning and running away from Martin. But once again, very similar to that last play. Tackle blocks down, right? You can get the double team here. Tight end blocks outwards. You know, if Martin ends up like running to the left here, the running back's going to run right through this gap. Running back has his reads the same way Martin does. Martin steps right up perfectly. I think one of these guys ends up out of their run fit because you see both guys end up in the same gap. And the running back ends up just hitting this towards the right. But again, Martin does his job, right? He makes his read, his responsibility within this play. This is a great job by the running back. But again, you know, just kind of talking about Martin, just wrapping this video up. I love how this guy's able to process certain things and how he kind of understands the game of football. And you can just tell that there's something special with Martin. Now, I'm not predicting that this is going to be like an all-pro caliber player. He'll be the best linebacker we've ever seen in the NFL. I'm not saying this is the next Patrick Willis. But what I'm saying is that Nick Martin looks solid out there. And I obviously do also have to acknowledge that Robert Saleh is one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. And he's one of the guys that can, you know, take linebackers and kind of mold them into superstar players. We've seen him kind of do this with Fred Warner in the past. We've seen him do this when he went to the Jets with a couple of their linebackers. And something tells me Nick Martin's going to end up being like that next guy that ends up being really, really, really good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We will be following Martin as he kind of goes through the course of his NFL career. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We will also be covering the 49ers pretty much every single week. Make sure you guys subscribe, turn on that bell notification, and hit that thumbs up button on this video if you enjoyed this content. If you learned something new, it really does help this video. And I'll see you guys next time with another video.